Hello. Shut up, guys. Hello, everybody, and welcome into another episode of Minecraft. I hope you guys enjoyed last week's episode where we built the tavern behind me. Today we have some extra things that we need to do to complete this project. And one of those things includes terraforming to stop this floating blob of dirt right here. Another thing that we also need to do is build a tree. I would really like to build a natural tree framing the edge of the tavern over here. We also have to change out the ground all the way around the edge of the tavern area and link it up to the pathway. Another couple of things that we need to get done is to build out this area slightly more so we can fit a nice terrace/garden area out here. I want a space where the customers can come outside from the tavern to sit in the sun and drink a beer and eat some good food. Alright, I'm now just blocking out a little bit of a path to figure out where I'm going to be putting the pens. I think one of them can go back here. Although I'd like them both to be in this area. I might do one this side and one over that side. And to build the pen, I have mangrove roots, mangrove leaves, and some spruce fences. So I'm just going to use these to block out an area for the pen. So I'm going to leave some of the grass, but I am going to be adding some patches of mud, and I'm going to add some things like a water trough, maybe some hay bales just to make it look a bit nicer, maybe a few pumpkins around. I'm going to bring out this part of the land and put a shelter over here. Alright, I'm going to be grabbing some wheat and I'm going to try and move the cows over to the pen. Okay, let's move away from here. Cows incoming! Maybe I should have tested this with one instead of all of them. Let's hope they can't get out. They seem to be able to get in from there, but let's hope they can't get out. Seems like we've got almost all of them in. And close this and... Oh. Okay, they can get out. Okay, they can get out. They can get out. Maybe if I remove that? No, they can still get out. They can still get out. They can still get out. Okay. Let's gather these ones up and see if we can fix this. God dang it! The rest is done, and they don't seem to be able to get out, thank God. We did lose a few of them, but I'm sure we'll find them and kill them on our way. Okay, so next thing we need to do is work on a shelter for these guys, and I'm just going to extend the land a bit more and work on the shelter, so let's do that. Alright, so this is going to be a diagonal build, so it's going to be a little bit difficult, but I'm going to try my best. Now for some tough wall. A final piece of the puzzle. Let's hope the cows don't escape. There we go. Shelter and cow pen fully complete. So now the cows have been moved into their new home, it's time to move the sheep. So let's gather the stuff we need and get these sheep to the other side of the tavern. It's time to bring the sheep over. We learnt our lesson from last time. I'm going to do one Oh. Sorry. My punches are very strong, apparently. Don't try and get out. I need one. Can I just do this? All right. I'm going to have to just do this. It's time to free the herd. I am one with the sheep. I have become the sheep. I do not herd the sheep. The sheep herd me. But it seems like we've got a good amount of them in there. I mean, it's definitely not as many. It's definitely not as many as it was before, but I think it's kind of the perfect amount for in here. Oh god, there's sheep everywhere. So, we have finally moved almost all the animals. Yes, 'tis your turn, good sir. In. Yeah. We have a bartender. Okay, so now all the animals have been moved. We have our cows and our sheep. It is time for the next step. And the next step is terraforming this giant hole. This is going to be a long one. Oh, hey, there's a sheep up there. So to start off for this terraforming, what I'm going to be doing is adding in a dirt edge, just to give it a bit more definition. And once the dirt edge is in, I'm going to be adding in just a plain stone wall for now. And once the stone wall is in, I'm going to hack away at some pieces to make it look like it's been destroyed by the waves crashing into the rocks. So now we have our flat stone wall. I'm going to be adding in some extra pieces along the bottom, and then I'm going to cave in the center and add some extra pieces along the top as well. And you'll see what I mean in just a second. And here we have what I was talking about, and now as you can see it has a bit of a dip in the center, and I'm going to do this all the way along the edge. Now that the base of the cliffside is finally complete, it's time to add some color with some texture in there. So I've picked out some blocks. We have blackstone, basalt, deep slate, and tuff. And these are the 4 blocks that we're going to be using to create shadows in the center of the cliff. And for the highlights, I've decided that we're also going to be using some blocks. So I have some cobblestone, some smooth stone, and some andesite as well. And this is kind of what I'm going to be going for. So as you can see here, I'm just playing around with some of the blocks. In the crevices, I'm going to be having more darker blocks such as the blackstone and the deep slate. And on the outer edges, we're going to be adding in some andesite just to fade a bit easier from the harsh cobblestone to the smooth stone, as the andesite has an in-between texture on it, and I feel like it works really well. And I think from afar this works really well, especially for the shading, so I feel like I might add this everywhere. However, as soon as you begin to get up closer, the blackstone is quite harsh, so I feel like I might change that out for the basalt and the deep slate, and let's see what it looks like. I've also decided to add in some slabs for a bit of a more gradual decline and some mossy cobblestone, and I think it's starting to look really good, so let's zoom through the rest of it for you guys. And the final step of this long-winded journey is to add the decorations. I've brought a couple of things to add to make this cliff face feel a lot more alive. One of those being mangrove roots. I also have some mangrove leaves, and I have a lot of other tricks and tips that I'm going to be doing, and I'll show you those in a little bit. But first, let's pop these down. And to give the seafloor a bit of life, it's time to bone meal here and also add some drip leaves and lastly, some kelp. One thing I've definitely been wanting to try out is adding some brown glass panes coming out of the water, and on top of that adding a flower pot. And I feel like this could look like reeds along the riverbed, and that just adds a little bit of something extra to the design. And the terraforming project is complete. I think it turned out great and it definitely has some life to it. Now it's on to other projects that we've got to do for today. Now that the terraforming is finished, it's time to work on the tree, and I've just started placing the bottom part of the trunk down here, just doing a circle type shape with some logs, and I've added some roots, and I want these roots to go down the edges of the cliffs, but I'm not liking how they're looking so far, so we're going to work on that a little bit. My new idea for the roots is to make them curve up a little bit more before going down over the cliff face, so they are going to be lifted off the ground, so I'm just going to try making that with some planks, slabs and stairs, and we'll see what it looks like. And I think that the roots look a lot better now. I feel like it looks more alive than it did when it was just flat against the floor. I just need to remove some of these dirt blocks and then we can start working on the trunk of the tree. So the way I'm going to be building the trunk up is just by using some spruce logs and also using the dark oak planks and the dark oak stairs and slabs. And I feel like I want the tree to curve a little bit. I don't think I want it going straight up like I'm doing right now. At some point I will be adding a curve in, and I'll do that using the stairs as well. Another way that I'm going to be making the trunk of the tree look more circular is by filling in the 90-degree angles with some fences. And I feel like that looks a lot better. So I'm just going to continue this up a little higher to reach almost the top of the tavern, and then we can start working on the branches, and I'll speed that process up for you guys. Now the trunk is complete, it's time to start working on the branches, and I'm going to do 3 or 4 branches, I believe, and I'm definitely going to do one going over the tavern, and I'm just going to use the same principle as before. I'm going to be using planks, stairs and slabs, and I'm just going to be adding slabs in those 90-degree corners to make it a more smooth transition. Wait, is that... What are you doing in there? Did you create this hole? How could you? Hey, that's a much bigger hole than I originally thought. Oh, these Endermen are so annoying. And now all of the branches are in, it's time to place those leaves. As you can see behind me, the tree is finally complete. I love how it looks. I feel like it fits in really well next to the tavern. However, there is one aspect that I definitely want to change, and that is the floor in front of the tavern. It just doesn't look exactly how I want it to, and I do have an idea of how I can change that. So let's get working on the area out of here. And like always, to start out with, we're definitely going to have to clear out the area first, so it's time to get digging up some dirt. And as the dirt digging is complete, we are going to be adding a wall. Now, something that I've seen especially a lot in Lord of the Rings in the Hobbit village is that beside the hills, they have kind of cobblestone walls. And I feel like that's just to hold up the structural integrity of the hill. And I feel like it just adds a bit more of something different than the continuous green grass that we have going on. So my idea is to add these walls either side of the stairs going up to the tavern. And I feel like I'm going to use tuff because I feel like the tuff has a tint of green in it that goes really well with the grass. So we're going to get the tuff wall in first, and then we're going to do some of the texturing. So I've added in most of the wall, and I've also added in some mossy cobblestone and some cobblestone. And I also decided to change out the floor, texture the floor underneath the wall, and add the 2 areas besides the wall as rocks. And to add a little bit of extra detail for now, I'm just going to be adding in some mangrove roots to make this area look a bit more overgrown. And one tip that I definitely recommend is also adding whatever you're placing on the walls or the floor also into the ground, as it just makes it transition nicely into the next block. And now the first side is complete, it's time to work on the other side. And now that I've filled in most of the other side, I've decided that this is going to be the perfect size to add a little pond in. So I'm just going to dig out a small area in this section, and we're going to be adding a pond-like area here. And there we have our new pond, and now that the front area is pretty much complete, it's time to work on the back area of the tavern. And I definitely have some big plans for that. To start with the back of the tavern, I'm going to be adding a big keg near the back wall, which is where we're going to tap our drinks for the tavern from. And once this keg is complete, I'm going to start working on the seating area for the outdoor. I'm going to keep it quite simple, but also quite overgrown. So it just gives you that serene feeling that you're sitting in nature, as I feel like that's definitely what a Hobbit vibe would be. And once I've finished with this insane amount of fireplaces for the roof of the seating area, I'm going to start working on the floor, and I'm basically just adding in path blocks and dirt blocks for the places that are going to be most walked in, and I'm going to add stone for the places that are least walked in. I also decided to add in this little well at the back just to add a bit more detail and to give it a more full look. I hope you guys like how it turned out. This is going to be the end of the episode. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you enjoy the buildings that I have created today, and we will be doing some very exciting things in the next episode. So don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and so you can check out next week's episode, because we have big things coming. It is time to finally find the stronghold. So we'll catch you guys in the next episode, and see you next time. Bye!